So before we get started on today's presentation, I just wanted to quickly address some of the comments left on the last video, which was the ballistics gel test. Now, it's pretty obvious to me that people are passionate about their particular viewpoint, whatever narrative or theory it is that they're following, and it shows. Now, I just want to remind everybody that until we see an autopsy, and I know there's a lot of distrust there, but until we see an autopsy, all this is just speculation because we don't know the specific round that was used. Now, a lot of people said, why didn't you talk about the possibility of the use of a subsonic round? Even though at the end of last video, I talked about the possibility of a subsonic round, albeit briefly, but we'll talk about that a little bit more in this video. So let me recap a little bit on the 30-06 round. Now, I showed 2 rounds last video. Now, to be clear, these were standard factory loads, and when you go to your ammo shelf at your local store, that's 90% of what you're gonna find are these loads. And they're pretty much all the same, 150 grain on up, meant for hunting for the most part. Now, as I said in the previous video, could it be possible that a subsonic round was used? And I think that is a possibility. But in the previous test, I was just using your standard factory loads to show that the round that everybody uses or most familiar with, there's no way, even at a 10-degree angle from that trajectory, from that distance, there's no way it's not having an exit wound, and I'm sticking by that. Now, some people brought up the Martin Luther King shooting, and now whether or not a bullet stays in an animal or even a person depends on the trajectory and what it hits, for the most part. In the case of Martin Luther King, so the bullet came in through his right cheek, went through his jaw, and then into his shoulder. Now, that's a totally different trajectory than what we're talking about with Kirk. Even if it's a 10-degree shot, a hunting round like this, factory load, there's no way that a shot like that won't have an exit. So there was a medic, I believe, that commented and said, I've treated people all the time with bullets getting stuck inside the body. Now, that being said, a medic, even though they may be very familiar with their job, may not be ballistics experts, okay? I think the mistake that a lot of non-gun people make is that they may think, and this is at the highest level of not being educated, okay, is they think that all bullets are the same. And I already went through the dissertation last video. I showed a very wide range of ammunition, and so no, it's not all the same. So it all depends on what round is used, the trajectory, and what it hits, and other factors. So now let's go ahead and explore what would happen if a subsonic round was used in a 30-06 or other caliber, perhaps. Now, what's a subsonic round? A subsonic round is something that is traveling from the muzzle at 1100 FPS or less. Now, the particular trajectory we're talking about, let's say somebody shoots a round like that from 142 yards, and from the muzzle it leaves at 1100 FPS. Now, by the time it gets to the target, it's going to be traveling a lot slower. And I don't know, it could be 900, 800 FPS by the time it gets to the target. Now, unfortunately, I do not have any subsonic rifle ammo, but I do have something that I could use to perform this test. Now, being that the entry velocity would probably be somewhere between 7 to 900, I do have some 38 Special. This is Remington 38 Special 158 grain semi-wad cutters with a muzzle velocity of 755 FPS. Now, this is a round that I can shoot out of my revolver, and all I would have to do is just stand a few feet away and it would be the same entrance velocity, if you will, into a gel block. I have a 20-inch gel block that I'm going to set up. And the entrance velocity would be probably pretty similar from a rifle being shot at 142 yards. So I'll go ahead and do that. I'll set up a 20-inch gel block. Wow. It appears that I went through this whole 20-inch gel block. So that actually penetrated quite a bit more than what I thought. So could a hand-loaded subsonic round, moving slowly, would that have the ability to get stuck in an animal or person? Yes, absolutely. So I got a target set up at 140-ish yards, and the idea here is I'd like to see what effect fragmentation would have on a t-shirt, and of course the gel block that I have in the neck area. So I have the t-shirt on an AR 500 steel plate. Now I realize that these plates aren't constructed the same way as body armor, but the fragmentation might tell us a little something. Alright, so I aimed low because I wanted to make sure that I didn't accidentally hit this gel block. And I got quite a bit more than what I bargained for. Yes, completely shredded this shirt. And also, if you look at the gel block, yes, there was quite a bit of fragmentation that came up into the neck area. So there are the tests. I'll just let you guys decide what you think. And I just want to say, I don't really have a dog in this fight. The only dog in this fight I have is justice for Charlie. And if it's Tyler Robinson, then so be it. If it's not, then that person needs to be brought to justice. Thanks for watching.